Hey math students, Mr. Van here. We are dealing with the cooldown called calculating MAD and IQR. A couple quick definitions. When we talk about um, measures of center and measures of variability, first of all, the mean, when we talk about the mean, we mean the average. You want to add up the numbers, then divide by the number of numbers. This is something you should be familiar with from, I think, even like fifth grade or something. I don't know, but if you're not sure how to find an average of something, that's okay. We'll talk a little bit more about that, and there's also some technology that we can use, and we're going to use a lot of calculators. Median, that's the middle number. You can write the numbers in order and literally just find the middle number or the average of two numbers. But you can also actually use technology for that. We're going to be using Desmos a lot for these things. And then mode. Mode is just the most common. So mean, average, median, middle, mode, most common. Which number shows up the most often in the data set? Now, measures of variability, well, a measure of variability tells you how much the values in a data set tend to differ from one another. A greater measure of variability, so a bigger MAD or bigger IQR, are two different measures of variability, means that your data is more spread out. A smaller MAD or a smaller IQR means that your data is more tightly grouped together. The data is more consistent. It's close to the center, the measure of center, the mean or the median. And again, there's two different ways that we can measure variability. The IQR is the interquartile range. That's always used with the median because you calculate that from your 5-number summary. The IQR is just Q3 minus Q1. So if you know what Q3 and Q1 are, you can just subtract them. The MAD, the mean absolute deviation, always goes with the mean. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. But I want to illustrate this for just a moment here. So if we look at this, all three of these have the exact same average. They have the exact same mean. The mean is 3. However, when we look at their MAD, their measure of variability, those change. This one right here has a MAD of 0 because, well, is there any variability? No. All of the numbers in our data set were 3. Looking at this one, we have some variability. Not everything is 3. It's a little more spread out from my middle number. Over here, well, if my middle number is 3, all of my data points are actually pretty far away from there. So my MAD, my mean absolute deviation, is going to be bigger than this one because it's more spread out in general. Here's what I meant about using technology. If you go to desmos.com, you can actually type in a list of data, and what's going on here is you got to give your list a name. I usually like to just use capital L because, Linda. It's a good name for a list. I'm just kidding. L for list. Anyway, L equals, and then use your square bracket, and then you just put all of your numbers in with commas in between. It'll even tell you how many numbers are in there. This is how we calculate IQR using Desmos. This quartile parentheses L comma 3. What this is saying is I want the quartile from list L, and it needs to be the third quartile. So this right here, all this just represents Q3, and all of this just represents Q1, and that's where we get that IQR from. Now you can actually also use this to calculate the median. You could just type in median, and then in parentheses put the name of your list, L for Linda. I've got two different lists here. But anyway, here's the visual of what I mean. If you look at this box right here is pretty skinny. That means that Q3 minus Q1 is going to be a fairly small number, which means that most of my data is pretty tightly grouped together. If this box was a lot wider, I would say there's more variability in the data because your IQR is going to be a much bigger number. Now, calculating the MAD, well, we can actually do that very easily on Desmos. Let's say I want to find the mean, first of all, of my list. I could just type mean with parentheses and then L. And then if I want to find the MAD, I just type MAD, L, and it'll give you the mean absolute deviation. But basically, the way that this works is, and this is that time trial thing that I had you do in class, you've got your data here. You're going to find the mean, and you're going to put that here. And the deviation means that you're going to take the u minus the mean, and you get some number. The absolute deviation says, well, whatever that number was, if it's positive or negative, let's just make them all positive, because I don't care which direction. I don't know if your guess was too much or too little. I just want to know how far off it was. That's what we mean by absolute deviation. And then the mean absolute deviation is just the average of all those differences. It might be easier to just use Desmos on this, but that's how you find it. So on this, you want to calculate the measures of center and measures of variability. Find the mean absolute deviation. Find the IQR. It already tells you the mean, so you don't have to worry about that. But you can use Desmos, or you can write out the numbers in order and find Q1 and Q3 and however you want to do it. I hope this video helps. I hope these videos all are really helpful. I've got a video for every single lesson, so please tell me that I'm not wasting my time. Have a great day.